Okay, folks, how you doing? It's all right. I just want to. Excuse me a second. Let me just delete that. That should look okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Good afternoon, all. Hope everyone is okay. It's all right. I just got a bit of adjusting here. That's all. We're sorted, aren't we? Excellent. Okay. I hope everyone's okay. Right. Jay, how you doing? Like, how are you? Speedy, how you doing? Okay. Right. You'll be glad to know, as I'm glad to know, I passed that one PA above $2,600. So I've put in for a payment. There, so I'm quite pleased about that. So I needed one desperately, not desperately for the money, just as a moral victory. So that's good news. So FOMC day, be interesting to see what happens. Not a great deal. Okay, market is just open. There's not a great deal. Not a great deal of movement overnight, in all fairness. Let me just reload my historic. Let's have a look. Okay, so quick look. Strange, look at all that. Weird from yesterday. So, yeah, we started off, I think, sideways. So, this looks like it's pushing up. We're up with the tops on the NQ. So, do you know what? One thing I'll say is when you sit. Hold on 1 second.
Order filled.
Ignore if you hear any buying or selling. Just ignore it. I'm just doing a bit of experimenting. It's all right. I'm just doing a bit of experimenting on a sim. That's all. So, yeah, not a great deal of volume, really. It's hard to know what's going on there. We got a leg down, maybe. This is a leg down. I don't know. Who knows? Let me just kill that. No, let's leave it. Let's leave it. Okay, so I hope everyone had a good day yesterday. So, yeah, I managed to... Hey, Indy, how you doing? Push one of my PAs finally over the payment level. So I was pleased about that. So let's have a look, see what we get on today. So we had some news around about here, that little red bar, and the rest really is at 6 o'clock UK time. Hopefully we'll be done and dusted by then. So there's almost like a hidden second entry long, but it's an inside bar, so I don't really want to get involved in that. Keetry, how you doing? Good morning to you. Good afternoon. Good evening. Maybe a lot of this today, actually. It's hard to say, really. Okay, so let's see if we can trap some shorts there. Yeah, I mean, this channel up here has had a break and played out, so it's hard to know. We may come down a leg and a leg here. It's hard to know at the moment. It's just chopping a bit sideways, so what I'm going to do is just put that let's put it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches. That's not too bad, I think. Let's just bring that top down to there. Yeah, if you hear any buys or sells ping in the background, I'm just experimenting with something on a simulator. That's all. If it works, I'll let you know. Oh, first and foremost, affiliate. Some of you guys must have picked up a lot of evaluations yesterday because I had a really good day. So I just wanted to say thanks. All you guys use my code. I know you don't have to, but it's really good of you. And I had a really good day yesterday. So if you have used my code at any time, thank you. It is appreciated. It does help my trading costs. Because as we know, I've been through quite a bit of PA accounts lately, so just wanted to say thanks anyway. Exponential, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? Okay, I'm just going to close this. All right, it's just on a sim, that's all. You probably see it up there at the top on a sim. So what I'll say is the more we sit at these charts day in, day out, I suppose realistically over the last 3 years, I've probably averaged about 4 hours a day. And it soon mounts up. Thank you, Edward. And it soon mounts up. So you know, sometimes when you tend to browse these charts again and again, you notice things happen. Now, it's probably a bit hard to explain it at the moment, but what I find is whenever we get into a trend like this, we're looking for a certain entry, and so much of the time we don't get an entry. But what I've found a lot of the time is when we're in a channel, say this for instance, whenever we get a bear bar which finishes very close to its low and right very close to the bottom of that downtrend, price crosses over and moves up. So if you were to say, let's say for instance you risk want to make 2, if you were to put a buy order as soon as that bar closed, if you were to just buy that and put a buy order in there, crossed over, came down a tick and then pushed straight up, and that's how it tends to do. We push up, we pull back, we push up, we pull back. So whenever we get a pullback on a bearish bar, maybe it's an option to do it, to sort of buy it. But I noticed this, there was a channel yesterday and 3 times it did exactly the same. That finished automatically on its low, crossed over. Some cases it triggered it and then pushed up, but in all cases it pushed straight up. So I'm just experimenting for a couple of weeks or however long it takes, just sometimes on these channels, because what I'm finding lately is good setups are few and far between, and I think it's your job as a trader to constantly sort of develop your skills. You know, the more we sit in and watch these patterns, and if I'm struggling sometimes to get one a day, then it might be, you know, an opportunity to sort of experiment a bit on a sim and just try and find other methods of you know, other setups that you noticed. For instance, that bar there, we're established now a trend channel. As soon as that crossed over, came down a tick and pushed straight up. So if you were to say risk, say a point and go for 2 points, you'd only need to be, if you were right 50% of the time, you'd make money. But I like this thinking. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and you'll know this, Chris, you spend hours and hours sat in front of it. You can't help but notice patterns. And all we're really doing is studying human behaviour. And the more times you just watch people, the more you notice things people operate. But I see so many channels like this. We look for entries. You know, we're looking for high lows and we've got nothing there. But if you bought on that bearish bar straight away, as soon as it closed, as long as it's close to the bottom of there, crosses over and pushes up. And have you ever noticed that trade is an Albrook setup? Is it really? Okay, that's interesting. Nice little second entry long triple test. Hey, Brant, how you doing, buddy? Is it really? I don't know, mate. It's just something I've just noticed. You know, in these channels, whenever you get this type of sort of bar, we get a bar and then you just buy. So if you bought there, let's say there, or even a tick below there, I mean, it triggered it. Well, sorry, it would come down a tick and then push straight up. So if you got into that bar there, I mean, you've got to do it in trends. It only works in trends, but even in short trends. But if you got into that bar there, let's say you bought sort of there, somewhere around about there. I mean, you've got 2 points before the bar's even finished. You would have made, well, you'd have made over 2 points there. So you'd have to experiment it a bit. But the thing is, if I buy here, we get a bull bar then. So sometimes we'd take a setup when that bar finishes. If I bought there, I'd be out before that bar even finishes. I think watching chart is like a weird kid the Matrix. It's not the spoon that bends your market says the same. You fit personality too. Yeah, you definitely learn and develop as a trader. There's no two ways about it. You can't help not stare at this every single day. There are patterns all the time because human beings, we work in patterns. We do things over and over the same way. We're creatures of habit. And if you notice these habits again and again, you'll start to develop new skills and new ways. And at the moment, with Pat's the way it is, I mean, I was chatting with Daniel the other day, and he says he struggles to find a trade a day as opposed to a few years ago. Yeah, and that's okay. But if I'm going to be sat here for 3 or 4 hours and only maybe taking one trade, it'd be nice to have the option to, you know, learn a few new skills. And you can't help but learn new skills. So, well, we're not doing a lot at the moment. I was just browsing through some of my older charts and just seeing, let me have a look, seeing what sort of works. But it is quite surprising. It's uncanny. There was a channel, I think it's yesterday, and it worked 3 times in a row. But if you risk 1 to make 2, if you got it right 50% of the time, you'd be making money. Sorry if you can hear me a sec. I'll just cut myself off. Let me have a look. I mean, it works better, I think, in slightly smaller channels. So I'm just going to bring this chart in. Was this yesterday? A couple of days ago? I think it was a couple of days ago, I think. Let me have a look. Just going to bring this chart in quickly. There's nothing at the moment anyway. So this is a couple of days ago's chart. And if you notice this channel here, I can't zoom into it really. This channel here, we start to move up there and you've got a bearish bar there. We come back and as soon as, if you bought there, it will push straight up. Same there, big bearish bar. If you bought there, it pushed straight up. Let me have a look. It needs to be that sort of size channel really. And it's got to be confirmed really, but we came back, bearish bar, crossed over, pushed straight up, same again, we came. Now, whether I take that or not, I prefer the bar. I think the bar is better when it comes to the bottom of the channel, but even if you bought that, it pushed straight away. So straight away, there's 2 opportunities there. Now, as I say, if you got it right 50% of the time, you'd be making money. So it's just something to you know, something to think about and just something to look at. NQ 400 ticks an hour trades all the time. Yeah, I think as traders, the more times you sit in front of these charts, the more you'll see opportunities, and sort of develop your skills. And it goes same the other way. So, you know, we've got a channel down there, so we come down. Now that channel hasn't really confirmed, but same again. Look, We've got a bullish bar. What happens? Triggers it, comes down. So, you know, you may say there, trigger it, come down, but it wouldn't have worked there. But I think really it's got to establish a bit of a trend, really. A trend channel, well, we're supposed to take about, supposed to have three hits or 3 confirmations. See if I can find on another chart. I mean, it's not completely infallible, but that's what I mean. You'll probably get maybe half a dozen of these trades a day, possibly even a bit more. But it's just nice to have options, isn't it? You know. So let's just quick look at this one. Forget the trade. The trade's naff, I think. This was a couple of days ago. So this channel here, it's confirmed it there. So a big bullish bar there. What happens? It triggers it, comes down really sharply. Same again there. Triggers it, comes down. So if you're just bought, you know, you'd have to do it right. So we're coming down there, maybe that one there. It's kind of a lower high, but rather than waiting for the lower high to form and take it down here, if you bought above that bar there, you'd be out that trade before it even before that bar even finished. It's just, it's got to be in a channel though, really, some kind of a channel. But it's just something to watch out for, isn't it? You know what I mean? I always like to sort of try and learn new skills and excuse me. So that is a Al Brooks. I've never really watched him much because you got to pay for his course, haven't you? See, so I've never really watched much. So if you look at that NQ now, we've definitely got a channel down there, yeah. Now this is the start of the channel, really, isn't it? So you wouldn't confirm it. If you look at that bullish bar there, what happens? It triggers it, comes down really quickly. Same again there. If you sold there on that bar there on the NQ, what happens? It triggers you, comes down quickly. This bar here, whether you take this bar or not, I think it's better to get that bullish bar on a downtrend closer to the channel, because it could come up a bit further. So if you just sold there, it may come up and stop you out before it goes down. But just goes to show you there, we got a channel there, that bearish bar. If you'd have bought there, look at that, it just rockets straight up. So it's just an option. So that one at the top of the channel there, that one triggered, although I wouldn't take that, it's not really a channel, but that one certainly is. So if you sold as soon as that bar triggers it, comes straight down nice and quick. So but as I say, if you excuse me, you'd have to experiment with it, whether you go for 4 ticks and then out for 2 points. But even if you went for 6 ticks as a stop and then went for 2.5 points, the thing is, as soon as that bullish bar forms next, that's where we would normally look. Half the time you've got 2 points by then. But even if it got to 2 points and then you put your stop to break even, you've only got to get another couple of ticks on top of that, another 4 ticks. On top of that bar. So it's just something to experiment with, and you know, it's just something I've noticed. And I noticed this because I mentioned the other day, I see Marco picking tops and bottoms in ranges. I tend to avoid them, but I've noticed that he picks the tops and bottoms after it triggers a bull bar. So that one there, it triggers that bull bar and comes down really quickly. So I've noticed sometimes, have you noticed whenever you start revenge trading on a sim or something, or whatever happens on an evaluation or something, you see the market go up and you tend to buy. The second you buy, it tends to come down. It doesn't matter what you do. And I think because when we're revenge trading, we see the market go up a bit and we jump in. And it always seems whenever I've revenge traded, the second I get in, it starts to come back on me. It's almost like it's got something, you know, got something again. You know, that's just how the market works. Goes up, comes down, goes up, comes down. But see, looking on that NQ now, straight away, that bull bar there, if you'd have sold that, you'd have made your points there. Straight away, that one there, I said I wasn't sure because it was close. If you'd have bought that, sold that, it triggered that bar, came straight down, so you'd have had 2 winning trades there. And if it works 50% of the time, you're up money-wise. You know, so it's a matter of practicing on a sim first. And you could have a look. I mean, you could have the NQ up and you could have that up, but someone said it's a an Al Brooks setup. So it just goes to show Al Brooks that have just seen that by watching the markets, and we all watch the markets again and again. Video call one-legged pullbacks. Does it really? I'm not familiar with that. But it's always when we get that pullback, and in a downtrend, we get these bull bar pulls back. So if you sold there, it would have gone up a couple of ticks, come down quickly. And it always seems to come down quickly when we trap a bull bar in a downtrend and vice versa. In the premium video list. I think you might be right. I don't know whether I've even seen that, to be honest with you. It's weird. But, you know, sometimes I can sit here for 3.5 hours and not take a setup in it. I'm not saying it's a waste, but it would be nice to have the, you know, because some traders you say, yeah, I have certain setups for when the market's doing this, and I have certain setups. Well, my setups really, higher lows, second entries, failures, and triple tests. And that's generally what I work with. But if you do happen to get into one of these channels, if I look at that channel, there's no pat setup there, is there? But if you bought there, that went up, you'd have made 2.5, 3 points there. So there would be a setup. I think it's nicer if that bar triggers, but I don't really think it matters. But it's just a matter of experimenting, really. Hey, Sam, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? Yeah, it's just interesting. It's good on you, mate. Good on you. So, looking at this NQ, see that bull bar there? Now, would I have taken that one? I'm not sure, because it's almost a bit sideways there. So I don't know whether that'd work. So if you just sold that, depends how far how much you go for, really. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have done there, because we're coming away from the side there. If we'd have gone like that, it might have been different, but took a visual second entry on the 2006, draw a line from the top of the pullbacks, took the third one, that one there, did you? That one there, I think that's what you mean, isn't it? Yeah, see, ordinarily I wouldn't take that because I prefer that bar, but I've noticed Thomas Wade does. So does it matter that it hasn't pushed? It's not an inside bar because it's clearly bigger than that bar. But if you're looking at that as a downtrend, the high of that bar is lower than the high of that bar. So why wouldn't you take that? It's not even a visual second. Well, yeah, it is. I would say it's actually a second entry, but that's more the bar, isn't it? But does it matter? I mean, look, it's confirming there. Why wouldn't you take that? Now, I wouldn't take that trade because I think this is a nice looking downtrend, but I would take it because it's respecting this line. Now, if this is the trend that wide, it's not even coming down here, but it's, you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? You notice these patterns, and when you see stuff like that work, 9 times out of 10, even though it doesn't trigger above there, or at least make a matching eye, why wouldn't you start to take them? You know, you've got to develop and find your own style. You know, some may deem that too risky. Others might take them all day long and win 8 out of 10, in which case it's worth taking. You know. Thomas Wade called those double bar entries, and Albrook them 2 bar of it. Interesting. I think I need to start watching Albrook's. I think don't you have to pay for his course or something, don't you? But any new skills you can learn to find an extra setup in your arsenal, I think is only a good thing. There's kind of like a second entry short there. This to me looks like it may come down after this channel with a break. But it's a bit congested there. Might make that a little bit risky. I would prefer that bar on the NQ to be bearish, a decent second entry short, but it does look like two legs, but I'm just sitting tight. It hasn't formed anyway. Brooks is good, but the videos are very boring. Yeah, he's like your boring uncle, really. But at the end of the day, the guy's got some serious skills. Yeah, he doesn't look like you would expect him to, but I do believe the man knows what he's doing. He's very good at what he does. So I think I've seen a couple of videos over the last few years, but it does seem to be you've got to pay for it. But so I haven't up until now. I just tend to concentrate just on the Mac stuff. Okay, so we've got a channel down there, we've had a break and we've had a new low, so that did what it was supposed to, two legs up, and you took that one, mate, that worked. So I'm going to start watching these. I think that's part of the interesting thing about trading. While you are sat here for hours, you do notice things, don't you? And if every time you see that work 9 times out of 10, at some point you'd be daft not to start taking them. It takes forever to get through his course. Yeah, he does strike me as one of those people who is very thorough. I suppose you get people who write books with 200 pages and you get people who write books with 750 pages. Some people are very detailed in their approach. Let me have a look at this. So we have got a ways we could come down from this channel, so whether this is going to just push up, but there is some support along there on the NQ, so anybody know what Bitcoin is doing today? I bought some Doge yesterday, early yesterday. Yeah, it tends to be floating around that 63 level at the moment, doesn't it? Trouble is, I mean, if I sit here for 3.5, 4 hours and only take one setup, it makes sense to just keep an eye out for other stuff. Al Brooks takes 7 or 8, turns it into 3 books. So that's for yeah. He does strike me as that very thorough type. I find it hard to get through books. I do. I tend to listen to audiobooks. As you know, I'm quite a wired person, so I find it hard to sit still sometimes. I tend to fidget a bit when I'm reading books. I've really got to be interested in, you know, I've got to be glued to a book. He's good. He's just very dry, yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, if the guy's got skills, you'd be daft to ignore him, wouldn't you? How you doing, H? There's some free videos on YouTube. I've seen a couple of them over the years, just by accident, but I think I should probably start to look at a few more. I'm good, mate. I'm okay. I'm not in a bad place at the moment. I finally managed to get one of my accounts through the payment level. So, trouble is, when you're putting in, it's just nice to get some sort of recognition that you're finally getting a bit out. So he traded the 5-minute chart. I'm not sure. The only thing I know about him is he uses black and white or black and clear candles. But I'm not too sure. Yeah, thanks for that, mate. I appreciate that. Yeah, 5-minute chart. It's. I mean, if you're sat here for 4 hours, it doesn't hurt to look at these other charts. You know, being on the stream, you get some people say they trade 5 minutes, some people trade 2 minutes. I notice Alpine trades 20 seconds sometimes. Nutty trades 2 minutes, and then some on MQ. I've had people say they trade 1,500, 400, 2,000. So I think price action, from what I've heard from Mac, price action works on any time frame. Now this is interesting. Now, are we going up here? Is this a channel? In fact, there is a lower high on the NQ, which is trapped a bull bar there. So it'd be interesting to see if this comes down. So this may now come down. It's hard to say at the moment. We've got a leg down. The trouble is we have got some support here. So yeah, this is coming down, I think. So yeah, usually about once every 6 months when I'm scared to figure out. I have got it written down up until the end of last year, I think. But yeah, I tend to pay for everything through the same bank, so I can quickly work out. But if you go into Apex, you can go through exactly every single thing you've paid, so it is pretty easy. So this is interesting. So on the NQ, we got this channel down, then we got a break, we've got a little bit of sideways at the top, then we triggered that bullish bar, and we got a big bearish bar come down. So it'd be nice to see if this second entry long triggers and comes down. Not enough. Not yet, mate. No, I'm not far away, I don't think. I'm not far away. Maybe 5,000 or 6,000, something like that. Not far away. There's very little volume, in all fairness. It's obviously got something to do with the FMC today. No. To be fair, when I'm getting close, then I will start monitor everything a little bit closer, because obviously once you get everything back, that's when you're obviously going to have to start declaring yourself as a business. But I haven't really. I want to sort of wait till it all, till I get sort of break even, and then I can go, okay, now I should register myself. So, it may even be beneficial. See, I don't know. It may be beneficial to register yourself as a limited company, because there are tax benefits. So that's interesting. So there is a lower high in the NQ, and it's trapped a second entry long. So I would suggest that's probably going to come down there. From there somewhere, I would have said. But it is a bit sideways, so that's interesting. So if you'd have took that lower high, it triggered you. Has it stopped you out yet? Yeah, as I'm surprised that's done that. Because we got a channel, we have a break, a little bit of sideways. We trapped a long there, big bearish bar. Trapped another long, second entry long. Triggered, so there's some traps here. So there is a bit of support along here, so it just may, I don't know, it just may go a bit sideways. We're certainly sideways here. Second entry long on the ES. Yeah, I don't know whether I'd want to go long here. This could be, because we've come down here and been up here once, twice. This could be a triple test. And it may come down. It's hard to say, really. If you put that there, we've been up here once, twice. This looks like a third time. Now, channel there, break, new high. If this comes down bearish now, which it could do, it may come down. But there's been a few traps on the NQ, so I'm a little bit nervous about taking anything at the moment because after that big bearish bar, it was a lower high. After trapping that long, and then it trapped to second entry long again and started coming down. I thought for sure that was going to come below there, but then it pushed up. So that's interesting. So we've been up here 3 times, and every time we haven't closed above that line. So that's interesting. I wouldn't take a bar there, but if it pushes up a bit more and gives us another nice bearish bar below that line, then I may be interested. We'll see. Second entry long in about a long here or something. Yeah, we've had 2 strong push-ups and 2 strong rejections on the NQ, so it looks to me like this is probably going to come down. Unfortunately, can't take that bar. I like that to push up a bit. See, same again. You got another big bearish bar trapping along. That's triggered. See, looking at that NQ, there's a bunch of traps there. If you'd have gone long there, it triggered you, stopped you out. If you'd have gone long there on the second entry long, it's triggered you still in the trade. If you'd have gone short there from the failure, triggered the long, you got stopped out. If you'd have gone long there, it triggered you and it's coming down. So I'd say from what I'm seeing, it's made multiple attempts to go low. It's hard to say what's going to go on here, but there's definitely some longs and shorts stuck in there. I'd say there's probably going to be more shorts, so I'd expect there to be some stops above here. That one you got taken out, that one triggered, so this is interesting. If it goes above there, there's probably going to be a few stops there. It hasn't broken above there yet. Let's see if that holds. Self-employed or limited is the option, I think. I think limited is a better option because you pay corporation tax. I think you're better off tax-wise. I haven't really looked into it too much. I will do at some point. But from what I gather, a limited is a better option. It's hard to say. I mean, Stu, how you doing, bud? I mean, things like limited, you'd be VAT registered, but you wouldn't be claiming any VAT back because we don't pay VAT. We don't pay VAT on anything, really. Well, apart from computer gear and internet, but any of the valuations or anything like that, I'm assuming there's no VAT on there because it's US, so I don't know how it works. I have been VAT registered before in the past when I had a business years ago, and it was useful because I did a lot of driving. But apart from, you know, your computer equipment, makes you trade futures versus CFDs? It's a good question, actually. I actually started trading currency, and then I watched these 2 guys, and anybody knows trading currency, you got charts coming out your ears. They're everywhere. Different time frames, different currency pairs. And I did that when I first started trading for 6 months. And I saw these 2 guys trade in one chart, one time frame for about 3 hours a day. And that struck my interest. So I started watching these 2 guys for a few months and liked what they were doing. And then I found out the idea or the trading plan comes from MAC, Price Action Trading System. And when I looked into it, he was charging $125 per year. So it was a no-brainer for me. And that's what I've been doing now for 3 years in May. And to be honest with you, when you take your time and your patience, it's very accurate. Michael Chin and Riley Coleman, they're the 2 I just started watching. I didn't know anything about their past or anything like that. I should imagine it's worth speaking to. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've been self-employed before, and in all fairness, it's not difficult to do your own taxes. Now, if you're a big company and you've got maybe lots of buildings, and there's way more stuff into it. But I've done my own taxes quite a few times, and it's actually not that difficult. And something like this, the only overheads you've really got is one, your computer equipment and your internet. A little bit of relief you would get for using a room in a house, heating and bills and so on. And then the only others really is what you pay Apex. That's it. So you've got no vehicles, you've got no insurances. You've got very little to pay. Normally with a lot of business, you've got vehicle and you've got vehicle insurance. Then you might have some sort of public liability. If you've got buildings and you've got rates, there's so much. I think, well, if you traded with, if you sell something that's an asset, you pay capital gains on it. But with trading for Apex, all you really are is a contractor, so you would just get paid as a contractor. So you would deduct what you pay for Apex for your evaluations and your PA accounts, and then whatever you make on top of that is a wage really as a contractor. If you traded your own account, I'm not too sure. A trading futures, you're not really owning an asset, are you? Because all you're really doing is agreeing a contract. So I don't think that comes under an asset. Whereas if you were trading a stock, I'm not 100% sure at the moment. It's something I will look into in due course. But I would have thought, I have heard people say being a trader is the perfect business. All you need is a computer. Really, and that's it. You don't need vehicles, you don't need buildings, you don't need anything. So it's kind of probably the cheapest business you can sort of fund in a sense. Obviously, you'll lose a lot of money, but as opposed to all you really need, CFDs, capital gains. Yeah, I don't know. All you really need is a computer and internet connection, realistically. So there's not a great deal. Once you can learn to trade, you obviously got that initial cost, but I just put that down to you're buying a skill, exactly the same as you went to university in the UK. If you did a 3-year university course in the UK, it cost you £30,000, which is nearly $40,000, and that's to if you wanted to be, say, a nurse or a teacher or something like that. You wouldn't earn anywhere near the amount of money you could earn as a trader. But obviously you've got to stick at it. You got to keep trying and keep learning and keep developing. And that's where it has such a big failure rate, because not everybody can do it. That's interesting there. Once, twice, 3 times. Trouble is, there's been quite a few shorts here. There was a short there that got stopped out. There was a short there that got stopped out. So I would have suggested, from what I've seen here, this is probably the one that's going to come down, but it's very tempting. But there's so many traps at the moment, so found this 25 years ago. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to learn. There's no argument there. But if you can stick it out and learn it, you don't even need to earn a lot of money to cover. I mean, what's the average job in the UK? What was it, about £32,000 a year? It's not a lot of money in trading. If you manage to get 10 accounts to pay out twice a year, $2,000 each, you've earned more than that working 3 hours a day. So I love the fact that you've got more free time. Yeah, it's frustrating when you're learning, because it's trying to change that mindset. It's doing everything that comes completely unnatural to human beings. We lose something, we want it back. Not only do we want it back, we want it back now. We're not prepared to wait for it, and that's what happens. You jump in and you revenge trade. But lots of people have told me, more experienced guys, you'll only do it for so long. You'll only punish yourself for so long until your brain starts to go, can't keep doing this, and things start to change. Took that short. Big 2 legs back. I looked at that. I don't think it's a bad trade. We've had a channel break and a new high, which is also like a triple test. But it's very congested on the NQ. And if you took that as a short, which I didn't think it was a bad short, it triggered, came up, stopped you out there. If you took that short there, trapping the long came down, stopped you out. So there's a bunch of traps here. If you took that long there, triggered you, came down and stopped you out. So I'm probably avoiding this area because it's a 10 tick bar, tick above, tick below. I don't really want to risk 3 points. Now, everything is telling me this is looking like it's coming down, but I've done this before. You get 1, 2, 3 lots of shorts in here now. All of a sudden it rockets up. So I've kind of seen this movie before, and I'm not watching it this time. So there is a possible second entry long there. There may be a bigger channel there. In fact, there probably is. But the trouble is, I don't tend to make a decision on the ES now without at least looking at the NQ. Now there's a second entry long there. But there's a lower high, so you could get trapped and that could come down. The trouble is there's so much support along here. I wouldn't want to go long there because 1 minute this looking like it's about ready to drop like a stone. I know it's sat nice on there, but it's probably going to work. But I just don't like what's happening here. I'm not sure what's going on. It takes 20 years to learn this, not all full time, but trial and error, absolutely. And brakes when I gave up. Came back because the allure of the freedom, absolutely. If you could make it. Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. Stops run happen frequently, more than 50% of the time, really. Trap. Yeah, of course, yeah. See, if you'd have taken that one, you wouldn't have quite got 2 points yet. Is it going to push up? Quite likely. But there's going to be a mixture of longs and shorts in here, I would have said. But there has been a couple of traps, so is that going to push up? Possibly, but I thought that a minute ago when it triggered that long and then down it came. See, my slight issue is with this channel down, we've tried to push up once, tried to push up twice. We've managed it here, but we've created 2 bearish bars. And if you'd have taken that long, that triggered and came down quite bearish. So my concern is we're going to trap more longs there, and then this is going to come down because this is sort of rangy. So that was my thought process for staying out of that, because it's just hard to know what's going to go on. It's hard to see with this 1 minute. I mean, we've had this channel down here really, so let's have a look. You know, as we know, in a lot of cases, it's certainly for a Pats trader, when we get a channel like this and have a break, usually we make a new low, and we haven't yet. But we've struggled a few times, and it's going very much sideways. So it may come down from the top and go up from the bottom, in which case we're at the top now. So going along there was just a bit risky for me, because this could come down really quick or it could push up. So while it's doing this, I'm a bit on the fence. So you gave up a PhD for trading. Yeah, I mean, trading a few hours a day with just a computer. There are so many benefits if you can trade. I mean, you can live wherever you want. You know, I've known people in the past who've got businesses and love going down the south coast of the UK, and they say they're going to retire down there, but they couldn't go down there now because of the business. So there is loads of benefits. You can have whatever time off. You're never going to get sacked. You're never going to get made redundant. You're never going to be working your ass off 12 hours a day to line someone else's pockets. You pick your hours. You pick what you want to do. You don't need vehicles, you don't need buildings, you don't need insurance, you don't need so much. It's probably a very cheap business, obviously, once you can trade, which takes time. Making money isn't a problem for me in trading, it's keeping it. I still get frustrated when I take losses, but I am improving slowly. But especially with the benefits of the prop firms and that. I mean, you can trade 20 prop firms. We've got guys that we know. Alpine, for a start, he's made 125,000 the last few months. That's the beauty about prop firms. You can trade multiple accounts. You don't no longer need a massive amount of money to be able to earn a lot of money. So if you'd have taken that one tick above there, which is about there, I think, you wouldn't have got 2 points. It would have to push through, so you'd have got 6 ticks. Now I tend to go for 2 points, 2 to 2.5 points. So that's why I stayed out of there, because you don't know whether it's going to fail and come back in, because 1 minute this is looking like it's going to go up on the NQ, next minute come down. So if the NQ comes down to the bottom, I wouldn't be surprised if that bar gets stopped out. If the NQ flushes down, forget that one. So my point I was talking earlier about taking trays when we end in a bear bar, if you'd have bought that and you'd have had a 6 tick risk, let's say you'd have bought 1 tick below there at a 6 tick risk, that would be where your risk is, yeah. And if you bought that and you got out for, say, 2-3 points, you'd have got out there. So that one would have worked. If you'd have bought there, you'd have been out for over 2 points, 2.5 points easily. So we seem to be going up in a minute. Now, whether I would do that or not, because it's very ranging, but you get the idea. Whenever we get these big bearish bars which close very close to the bottom of a trend channel, it usually crosses over and pushes up. Sometimes it'll wick a little bit, but that worked. If you'd have took that one, if you'd have bought it there or a tick below the close, wherever, even on the line, that would have pushed up and it would have worked. That one there, we got an uptrend there, bearish bar, the bottom of a line. If you'd have bought there, it pushed up, it worked. So it's always good to look at, look at these other options and patterns, looking at the highs and lows based on your channel box, yeah. But the volume's low. I'm assuming it's got to be because of the FMC later. See, I'm still not ready to go long here because there's going to be longs in there. Maybe, expect that to push up. There's probably going to be longs there. And it might well work and rock it up, but with this NQ going sideways, it could shoot up or come down really quickly. See, I've got a cousin who went to university for about 3 years. And he's a teacher. He's finished now. He does something else, but he was a teacher, and I think he was earning less than £30,000 a year in the UK, something like that. For 3 years, he's probably got £30,000 worth of university fees, and it seems like a lot of money. I think teachers do a great job, but they get paid very poorly. Yeah, they get holidays and stuff, but it's still a responsible job, being responsible for kids. But that's the beauty of this. If you can learn this, I mean, you need a very basic education to learn this. It's mainly spotting patterns. You don't need to be a maths genius or anything close to do something like this. So another big bullish bar. Is it going up? Probably, but there is support along there, so you just don't know when it's going to trigger and then drop like a stone. I don't know. I mean, if you look at the NQ, we've had this leg down, and we look for triple tests as part of our setup. We've got 1, 2. That's the sort of a third time. If you call that once, that's twice. This is the third time. It'll push up so many times before that it'll likely give up and come down quick. But it's hard to know when, or even if it will. But every time we come up here, we're pushing down. Every time we come down here, we're pushing up. Okay, so if you took that for 2 points, you clearly got your 2 points in the end. The trouble is, after that channel, with so many attempts to go up, you don't know whether it's going to come rushing down. $1,500 per year. I think in the UK at the moment, the cheapest university is, I think it's just over £9,500 per year. And then obviously you've got materials, books and what have you. And just with the nature of how the UK is, most people who go to university need some sort of lodgings and somewhere to live. It's, you're lucky if you can get into a university close to where you live. So a lot of people just go into renting rooms. So there's a lot of cost that goes into, securing a career in the UK. I mean, you're talking £30,000 just in fees, really. Which it's not pocket change. So, invest in something like that or something close into that to learn to trade. It's the same sort of thing, really. You can't go to university and learn to trade, really. I don't think you can. Whether you can in other countries, I don't know. But, you tend to get a job with a bank or in some sort of investment bank. I'm assuming they tend to suck young university graduates up, whether they're financial backgrounds. Well, I don't know, but I know since the era of it being so easy now for every Joe Blogs who's got a computer to download a platform, and obviously with the age of paper trading, you don't even need money nowadays. You can just learn to paper trade without it really costing anything. The trouble is, once you start to get a little bit of excess, that lure to come in and want to risk it with real money is powerful, and I'd say probably when that happens after a few months, 99.9% of traders will start to lose money, and losing money really is a valuable lesson. It does teach you. You can learn skills on a sim, but ultimately, from my experience, the hardest part of being a trader is being able to control those emotions, because we all have good days, and when you have good days, you feel fantastic. But when you start to have bad days, if you can't control those days, which a lot of us can't in the beginning, you can wipe away accounts so quickly in the blink of an eye. And then by the time you come back the following day, you kind of wonder what the hell happened. But if you can just muster up that sort of strength to be able to get away, when you've got enough skills to start making money, as long as you've got your risk management right, it shouldn't really be a problem. You should be able to make money. But, as anybody who's tried trading or been doing trading for a while, you know how strong those emotions are and how they can affect you. You didn't get a career from that education. You got one from college later on. Uni, wasted time. Yeah, a lot of people do uni. I mean, some people, I always had this thing with me that when I left school, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to be. Not a clue. Now, I was a chef for about 12 years. Now, that wasn't from wanting to be a chef. I had a girlfriend at the time when I was 18 who I was sort of madly in love with. And she was doing front of house at college, sort of reception and running a hotel and all that sort of stuff. So she went away up to Chester from where I lived, Shrewsbury at the time. And she dumped me and went out with a chef, so I heard. So I thought, I'll get her back. So I joined college to be a chef. So I did it. And actually, it was one of the most enjoyable jobs I've ever had. I've always sort of worked quite well in high-stress situations. My brain seems to, I feel like my brain works at 1.5 speed. So sometimes in really busy kitchens, I used to love all the rushing around and that, you've got checks coming out your ears, you've got steaks here, stuff here. I used to love that environment. But trouble is, when you meet a girl and you start having kids, it's generally pretty poorly paid. In fact, just before I met my wife, I was about to fly out to the Antarctic to work on a British survey team for 7 months of the year as a chef. I'd gone down to London, had all the interviews, gone down, got measured out for all my cold weather stuff, and then ended up meeting a girl, and that all changed. But so it is funny how sometimes how you end up. If you'd have told me so many years ago I'd have been sat in front of a computer screen trading, I'd have laughed at you. But you just never quite know how life can change sometimes. You currently work on the food pass, so I know what you mean. Yeah. See, I worked in a hotel in Shrewsbury where I lived, and I was the second chef at the time, and we had a new head chef, and he came in, and I used to love it when more experienced chefs than me used to start panicking, because I thrived off that. I never used to panic. I loved my arms flying all over the place, grabbing this, grabbing that. I love that environment. And I love seeing other people panic because it thrived. But the money's crap and the hours are crap. You know, there's not such thing, I know in the UK, as overtime for bank holidays and weekends. You just get paid the same rate. Lots of hotels are split shifts, so you'll work 4 hours in the morning, you'll come home for hours. So it's a crap social life. If you like your social life, it's not really good. And the pay is crap. You know, in the summer you're sweating your arse off. You know, it's hard work in busy kitchens because there's non-stop. But that's how I sort of started, and I did it to try and get a girl back. Women make us do strange things, that's for certain. My career is in the medical field, CT tech, radiology, love it. When I was younger, actually, I worked as a porter in a hospital. I used to live down in Winchester, and when I I was 17, I worked as a porter in a hospital, and I kind of liked the environment, actually. It was, you know, one of the first sort of jobs I had, really. I liked the sort of hospital life. It was quite alluring, really. But then we moved. My stepfather was still in the army at the time, so we moved further up north from where I was at the time, but that's why part of the reason I love streaming. You never know who you're talking to. There was a guy I used to come into who was a commercial airline pilot. He used to come in from time to time. You meet all sorts of people from all walks of life. I love it, I do. Off topic. Is it possible to trade PAs during the news? Yes is the answer, but how they word it is as long as you're trading your normal strategy. So if you've got a completely different strategy and you decide to go long in the news and you make a ton of money, they may have an issue with it. If you do it every time and that's part of your strategy, then yes, you are allowed to do it. So yeah, but there's no strict rule against it, but it's just how they word it sometimes. I mean, if I trade like this all day long and just decide to go long on the news and make 20 points, then they may have an issue with that. And the trouble is, if you're trading PAs during the news, we all know how that can end up. I've traded one or two of them myself by accident. And the trouble is, sometimes I think I had a 2-point stop once and it took me out for 5 points. So if it moves that quick, it can take you out for, it can really damage accounts. So I just tend to avoid it. Sometimes I'll trade evaluations in it. If you go long with one evaluation and short with another, 9 times out of 10, it'll spike up 6.25 points with 10 contract and pass your evaluation. I know, was it Nutty did that? I think he started to do that a bit. There's no issues with doing that, apparently. Whether they'll allow you to or not, I don't know. But you can trade 2 different accounts, long and short, on one on evaluations, but you can't do that on a PA. Your guess is as good as mine where things are going. Are we coming back into this range? It's certainly possible. I mean, we've got a channel there. That's an overshoot. In a lot of cases, overshoots, you can come back. So I don't know, maybe there's the start of a channel on the NQ. It's pissing in the wind a little bit, but you never know. Okay, so that's an overshoot anyway. So if you have it like that, we've had a break and a new high anyway. Even if you sort of put that in it, we've had a break and a new high. Well, matching high, but the way that's pulling in, I'd like to see it retest the underside of this and come down another leg. So we finally catch up to the US the end of next week. You guys went forward an hour, a week or two ago, a week and a half ago. We catch up on the last, is it the last Sunday of the month? I think it is 29, 30, 31. Or is it the first? It might be the, no. Sunday the 31st, early hours of the morning we catch up, so I'll give you an extra hour a day. Okay, this is starting to act like a range now, so I think it's likely this is going to come down to at least here, I'd say. So it'd be interesting to see how we get on with the FOMC this time around. Because there are supposed to be rate cuts coming throughout this year, but didn't he say they won't hesitate to have rate hikes if needed? You guys tend to know about the US economy more than I do, really, in the UK. Yeah, but great way to trade PAs. See, the last discount we had, it was 90% off on one day to par. So if you bought two valuations for like $16 each and went along on one with 10 contracts for 6.25 points and short on the other, when we had the news, you'd win one instantly and lose one instantly. That's unless it goes up 3 points one way, comes back 6 points the other, and then shoots up. Which I don't think it does. I think most people that trade them that way, they tend to work most of the time.
Order
Okay,
filled.
ignore that if you heard that. Don't worry about it. I'm just experimenting on a sim, that's all. It's not the rate decision that will move the market, but the comments about when they may start. Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Taking the minimum 500 from 3 PAs, and we'll go straight to funding Ninja Trader cash accounts. Good on you, mate. I think that's sensible, that is. I think it's good to fund your own, or at least to grow them slowly. You can sort of make some money from Apex and grow your
Stop
own,
filled.
I think. That didn't work. And grow your own. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Not so much from 6 p.m. news, but 6 p.m. always press conference. Got you. And the perfect setup on the 400 tick chart. Now NQ. You should have a look at it. Thing is, doesn't it move like a rocket? You say 400 tick chart. 500. Let's just adjust that one. Configure. Tick. I'm guessing it moves pretty quick, doesn't it? You're on about a second entry short. Yeah, second entry short, isn't it? Second entry short stroke lower high. Would I have taken that? Yeah, I suppose so. So what do you tend to, Keitry, what do you tend to go point wise and risk wise? So, well, obviously you'd be going above that, maybe one stop above there, wouldn't it? So, so that would be about a 6.5 point risk, wouldn't it? Something like that. What is that? I still don't know what they are on the NQ. I tend to use the NQ just as a second opinion for making decisions on here. I break even 15 ticks, take profit 20 ticks, like Max draws. So when you say 15 ticks, you have it fixed at 15 ticks, do you? And take profit at 20. Because that bar there, that signal bar there, if you put it a tick below, well, it's hard to put it a tick below the NQ, isn't it? Because when I think I'm putting it a tick, in fact, there's another setup for you there, isn't there? I think, and I'm putting it a tick. And I've got it set in points at the moment. It's about 6 points there again. Looks like a range. Yeah, we're definitely a range at the moment, aren't we? Just use the ATR as your guide. I need to find out how many ticks are in a point with the NQ. Isn't it different? I've not really traded it as such. But I did put a post in the Facebook group. Quite a few people are trading it and getting more max setups. No, it's the same. Oh, is it really? Trouble is, it's easy on the ES to drag my stop and put it one tick behind that. It's easy, but it's not that simple on the NQ, is it? Because you've really got to zoom in, and when you think you've got it one tick, there may be 2 more ticks. You can get closer. 4 ticks is 1 point in the NQ2. It's just it's a lot smaller, isn't it? So in an area like that, between those 2 bars, is that a point? Oh no, this is the ES. Sorry. NQ, yeah, it's very different. In a smaller area, you've got 20 points there, haven't you? Where here we got 2, so that's why it's a lot more sort of compressed. $5 a tick on the EQ. Okay, so 1 contract, $20 a point. Okay, that makes a bit more sense. It's certainly worth looking at, I think. You know, I tend to use it. Sometimes these charts are almost identical, but if I'm looking for a short on here, sometimes I'll have a glance at the NQ, and if it's looking the same, sometimes it just saves your neck a bit. And the good thing about the 400 tick chart is you can clearly see the ticks working a bit more, can't you? That looks a bit easier. Well, May was put 5 points horizontal. Yeah, I started with that on here with the lines because you could sort of tell a tick or a point then, couldn't you? It was easier. And then after a while, you get used to it. It was just a distraction. So 5 points is 100 per contract. Interesting. I'll take a photo of that, and I might have a play around later. But I seem to be getting the feeling that people seem to find better pat setup, not better, sorry, more pat setups on the NQ lately. I got to say, going back 2 years on this chart, looking at some of my older charts from 2.5 years ago, there was way more setups. I'll give you that one though. Second entry long, that worked out nice, but at the time we were stuck in this sideways stuff. But that, I can see Mac marking that for sure. 5 point seems perfect for scalping the NQ. When you what time frame are you talking about there, Akitri? So we've got a leg down, 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher, but there is some support along there. So, oh, that's on the 400. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at the 400 now. ATR's just under 6, isn't it? Okay, so makes sense. Karina, how you doing? Hello. 26 or $100 in the NQ. More volatile. Yeah, don't you? I think you traded 1500, didn't you? Put a message, didn't you? I think you trade the 1500 tick chart, Karina, I think, don't you? $1,000 or 1500. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Okay, so we got this channel down. We've had 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher. Technically a 2nd entry short, but do I really want to go short into all that? The sensible side of me says no. But we have had a break out the top here, so a lot of the times we'll get one down here, so maybe it'll work, but I'm staying out of it, I think. Is there 2 points to the lows? It's actually quite a small risk, isn't it?
Order submitted.
No.
Order cancelled.
Is it going to push down? Probably. There's not much room to the lows. Does it matter? Nah. One, it's congested. There's no room to the lows. Is it going to come down? Probably, but I can't go short into all that, in all fairness. Sensible side of you has no business day trading. It's not finishing right, I don't think, anyway, does it? That's closer to a doji. It's more neutral, that. I wouldn't want to go short one tick below there, in all fairness. It just, you know. Thought something had froze, then it's gone that slow. There's very little volume, really, isn't there? I mean, how long have we been going for? Nearly an hour and a half. And we've got that. The bar's no good anyway. If we get another bar which pushes up and closes just below there, and maybe enough room there, we'll see. channel up. See, looking at that NQ at the moment, it's hard to say really. That looks like we may get another leg down. We got a channel there. We haven't made a new low from that, so whether this is a bigger channel or not, I don't know. It's just at the moment, it's just a rough guesstimate, really. But we're stuck in this sideways stuff anyway, so trouble is you just get chopped to pieces. Okay, maybe we are starting a channel. We've tried multiple times to get lower there, haven't we? So maybe we are getting something like this. Or maybe we're just pushing higher, maybe to get a bit more momentum to push through. It's hard to say really when it's doing this sideways stuff. Marked is, I'm assuming that's market, is it? Yeah, I don't like it when it's wicky like this. And it's slow. It's probably going to do this for a chunk of the day, I'm guessing. Two slow afternoons. Okay, I've been looking at that bar there. We've pushed back close to the top here, and it's triggered that bar and come down. So are we now coming further below this? Or are we going to break below this? God only knows. How slow this market is probably going to take us a month to find out. It's just going sideways, isn't it? Bear bar there on the NQ triggered. Now it's pushing up. Yeah, you do notice things the more time you see it. See if we've got a little push up there. We got that nice big bullish bar there on the NQ. Triggered it, came right the way down at the bottom. Another strong bullish bar there. Triggered it. Came right down at the bottom. Another quite a bullish bar again. Triggered it, came right down at the bottom. And whenever we sort of finish close to the top on a bullish bar, another one there, triggered it. Well, we didn't come down that far, but it was a bit above it anyway. I wouldn't class that as a mega bullish bar, but you know, strong bullish bar like that, triggered, came down. Strong bullish bar there, triggered, came down. And I was just looking at this one. This might be the exception to the rule. Yeah, it's a bit hard to read. Sometimes these things are really predictable, but yeah, I mean, the trouble is, you can see the amount of support along there, can't you? I mean, how many touches we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I was thinking if we get a short here and then go long, but I just couldn't bring myself to go long into that lot. Might push straight through, but especially after the break of the top, fell break out the top and came in that strong. But just sometimes it can't get through these areas, and to try and go against the go against the grain, so to speak. Yeah, normally you get a leg down like that, you'd have a couple, 2 or 3 attempts to go high, and then you'd push down for another leg. I'd expected after that it to push out the bottom. But, you know, some days, you know, as Mac describes it, multiple personalities. Some days you feel like you're out with someone you've known for years, and other times it's like you're out with someone, a complete stranger. You don't know what they're going to do next. See, this could be a fell break out of this. It may come rushing back in. Okay, where's this going to come to? Well, this is boring today, isn't it? Some days it's not so bad, and other times it just does this really slow, doesn't it? Ah, I meant to ask you guys as well. That Guardian Angels, anybody use it? Guardian Angel Trader, anybody using it? I know Nutty's got it, and young Moo started using it. Stops you, well, you can set multiple parameters, so set max loss for the day, you can set max number of trading losses. There's loads of different, and you set your times and you can't adjust it. It won't let you take a trade, depending on what sort of parameters you I have been using it for 6 months. How do you get on with it, Dean? I asked Nutty about it the other day, and he said he had a few problems which unnerved him, so he just uses it to finish the end of his day trading. How do you get on with it, mate? It's best. How is it really? It's 349 euros, isn't it? Which is about £295. I was tempted to get it. See, at the moment, I've got my. I tend to like trading 2 contracts. My win rate is around about 85%. Now, when I take a loss, like a lot of inexperienced traders, that's when I tend to have a problem. So I've got 2 options. I can reduce it to 1 contract and trade 1 contract and have 2 losses before I finish, or I can set it to 2 contracts and have it block me out after 1 losing trade. That way, the maximum loss I'll have in a day is around about, say, 250 to 300, somewhere around about there. I have tried to email him with a couple of questions, but your email just gets sent back. I've had problems. But developer is pretty good, and updating and fixing problems has been pretty stable for me. That's interesting. I remember you saying you used it the other day, John. I was just going to mention your name, but I didn't think you were here. I've tried emailing them. Someone said to me he didn't know whether they were still in business, which I think was curious. The websites and all that, usually the website will come down, but I've tried emailing them twice, but for some reason your email just gets sent back. It can't get through. I just asked a few questions. So max loss for me is set to 1 trade per day. Forces me to only take the best trades. Yeah. And the beauty is as well, you can't carry on trading. So it literally takes that bad decision making away from you. I would think it would be a game changer, because half that problem is those emotions. But if you know that you can't trade after, you can't physically trade, I think it's helping you fix a bad habit. Because in the cold light of day, we can say, yes, I'm walking away after one loss. But then after one loss, those emotions kick in. What happens, Whereas if you have something that physically stops you trading, you can't trade, and you've got no option but to walk away. So that's interesting. So you two guys have got it, Dean and John. How long have you had it for? And do you still get regular updates? Do you still get the impression that it's still up and running and everything's fine? It's Game Changer. I just requested my second pack. Good on you, mate. Good for you. See, I don't have a problem with making money. I have a problem with keeping it. And it's usually when I take a loss. But as we know, when we come back the following day, the emotions have gone, you're back to normal. And that's the one thing I still battle with. I'm getting better at it, but for the sake of, what is it? It's £299 in the UK. Now, that's the price of 3 PAs, which is peanuts, really, compared to what it can save you. I was looking, I know Nutty made a video of it 6 months ago, and then someone put in the comments they've mysteriously gone out of business. I wonder if it's one of the prop firms bought them out. But then I noticed Moo just picked it up the other day. So 3 months, yeah, still updating the software last week. Okay, oh, brilliant. So, I'm going to pick that up then. Might do it over the weekend, actually, pick it up over the weekend. Oh, that's good news, because it stops you doing anything stupid, doesn't it? If you set one max... See, if I trade 2 contracts, I'll set my max loss for 1 losing trade a day. Now, because I traded around about 85%, the more you can trade, technically, the quicker you can build an account. And even at trading at 2 contracts, you've still got to lose about 7 to 8 trades in a row before you blow your account. Well, trading 85% and high probability trades, there's no reason you should do that. The only reason you're going to do that is from revenge trading or jumping back in. So I think if I set mine to 2 contracts and then set max loss, but you've had no issues with it? I'm assuming if they're updating it regularly. But I did wonder how people like Apex would feel about it, but I don't see how they can do anything about it. They can't say, sorry, you can't use it. We want you to keep blowing accounts. But the trouble is, if it starts to become widespread and a lot of people are using it and there's a lot less accounts blown, is that going to make Apex, change things up? It's hard to say, isn't it? It's been so far. Yeah, good on you, mate. I think it's been good so far. Yeah, good on you. And you as well, Dean, yeah? When you get it, start by setting max loss to 1 trade per day. 1 losing trade today, yeah? Your trading will completely change because you will become very picky. Yeah, I often thought about that. If you know you can only take 1 trade a day, you're going to wait for a super one, aren't you? Now, when you say 1 trade a day, you say 1 trade come win or lose, Dean, yeah? And if so, can you trade a sim still? Because if I take a trade and lose it in the first 15 minutes, I'd still like to do a bit of... I think it's still good. 1 losing trade. That makes sense. Yeah, that was the plan. Can you still trade on a sim after? Because I think you can set it to block certain accounts. I may take 2 winners. Yeah, I mean, if some days you'll get a great day, and it's a shame really to miss out on a couple of trades, 2 or 3 winning. I had a day a few weeks ago. I took 3 winning trades within 20 minutes. They were absolute beauties. So I like the way on the NQ we're respecting this line. There's possibly some shorts there, and it looks like we may be trapping some longs there, so this may come down. It's hard to say at the moment, but yeah, I'm going to pick it up over the weekend. I think 1 trade a day is risky, as if you lose the first trade, you could miss I know what you're saying, but if you struggle then to control your emotions because you're still relatively inexperienced, what I think is if you have a losing trade, the chance of you having another losing trade straight after climbs tenfold, I would suggest. So I know what you're saying, but it will make you be a lot more choosy with your trades. You can set it for each account. Yeah, I thought so. So you can block out your PA accounts and maybe leave yourself an evaluation. So, you could move on to an evaluation or something. Doesn't matter about emotions because you take a loss, your eyes start seeing trades. Well, that's what, yeah, exactly. Do you know what? I watched that Asian guy. I know he makes a ton of money now, but he said he used to do his training for the day and he'd itch to come back and he'd say to himself, I'm just going to come back and watch the market. And he said, all of a sudden your brain would be making up setups. And he said, I'd jump in and take a setup and I'd end up losing all my profits for the day. So I think it's very easy to get into that habit and those emotions. But if you absolutely remove the problem, you can't trade. You can't physically trade. You set your daily parameters that you can't change the settings till the following day. By that time, you've calmed down. So yeah, I'm going to pick it up over the weekend, actually. I think that's a game changer. It doesn't force you taking bad trades, but it forces you to not blow accounts after you take a loss. So I think that's a good idea. One losing trade in a day and you walk. Maybe two losing trades if you're only trading one contract. But, at the end of the day, if you're struggling to control your emotions, then it doesn't matter whether you take one loss on one contract or one loss on two contracts. So I think you know yourself best, don't you? So it's about adjusting it accordingly to your style of doing it. So, yeah, I'm going to pick it up the weekend, I am. Because I don't have a problem making money, but the emotions kick in, and that's what causes me problems. It is. It's like having someone sat over your shoulder saying, that's it for the day, you've lost your trade, get off your computer. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think my trading is okay. I think I've got enough skills now to be able to make money, but it's after a loss. I still have those problems. Now we know it's an issue, and we know it's an issue with over time can improve. But when you have a long winning streak, I notice you're very calm in your trading. Yeah, I mean, I had a few weeks ago, I had 14 winning trades in a row, and I felt fantastically. But then I had a loss, which was about 3.5 points, and that just messed with your head. Then I carried on trading and had another loss. So it is frustrating when you know you can make money, but your biggest problem is losing it. It is not keeping it, sorry. So I think it sounds like the perfect bit of software for me, doesn't it? Yeah, when I seem to get a nice flow and when I'm doing well, I seem to be very choosy in my trades. And a lot of times when I stay out of trades, they would have gone on to trap me. So, I've learned enough to be able to make money. I mean, every day's a school day. You're always going to improve. You're always going to be surprised sometimes. Sometimes when I think I've cracked it, something just gives me a bit of awakening. But it is those emotions. We know how powerful emotions are in trading. But if, it is like having a great big burly guy with an hammer sat next to you. And after a loss, he says if you touch the mouse again, he's going to break your fingers. It's a pretty good reason to walk away. But when you're on your own in a room, it's very hard, isn't it? I was watching them talking about this guy who worked for a hedge fund, traded for a hedge fund, and he says that they all go through the same thing. They have regular people coming in and helping them get over those emotions. But he said it's easy for them because you've got, these floor managers or whatever they are walking around saying, okay, that's enough for today. You've got people sort of watching you and managing you. But when you're on your own in a room, it's, it's very hard with all good intentions. The other day I started out saying if I take one loss, I'm finished for the day. And I took one loss. What did I do? I carried on trading, and I ended up losing 3 of my accounts. If I'd have had that piece of software, I'd have still have had those accounts alive today. So for £300, you'll soon save that money. I'm pleased about that then, because I know Nutty said he had a few problems with it. Whether he said he just uses it now to shut his trading down, but it's like anything, whatever we use, we get a few teething issues with, don't we? But I think the bigger picture is it's going to save you a lot of blown accounts and a lot of lost money as well. And if it does force you to walk away from that screen, you'll start to sort of get used to it. When you take a loss, there's no point in fighting it. You've just got to walk away. Well, I don't know about you guys. I haven't really got a clue what's going on here. I know we're going sideways. But are we going to get a break and push higher? Is there something bigger, or is it just unpredictable chop because of the news? In fact, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a quick 3 to 5 minute break. Myself. I'm pleased I've spoken to you, Dean and John. I appreciate your feedback there. I think that sounds like the perfect tool for me to hopefully force me to get away from this bad habit. So I appreciate your comments there, guys. Let's just put that there. Okay, 3 to 5 minutes. See, there is. So look at that. We've got a channel there with a break. If that finishes bullish, it's not a bad looking second entry long, but look what's happened when we've been up here. We've struggled. So as much as I'd like to take that, and I know it can still work, to me it doesn't make sense. We have got a nice trend. As we know, most breakouts, when we break out of a trend, we usually make a new high, but not always the case when the channel finishes right at the top of a range. Sometimes it'll trigger you and stop you out. So is that going to work? Possibly. Should I take it? Not really. Because it could trigger you. Okay, we've pushed up, we've had a break, we've made one attempt to go high. If we make another attempt to go high, we could trigger that along and come down. And that's the scary thing with that, really. And I want to be out before these tops, but look at all that support there. It's probably going to work, but a sensible side of me says I shouldn't really take that. The trouble is, it is FOMC day, so you just don't know. We came up here 3 times and we came down. We had a breakout here and then we came in strongly. So what's likely to happen here? Now, it might work, but a trade I want to take will be a 90% probability, maybe a little bit more. And knowing what's happened the previous 2 times we've been up here, what I will say is from these 2 times we came from the bottom, we haven't here, so that might say we're losing momentum going down and we may now push up. You know, we could have a leg and a leg, but I can't in all good conscience go into that. If I did and I lost that trade, that's where I tend to go on tilt because I'm doing something I know I shouldn't have done. And the way these tops are stacking up on the NQ, we've got a channel, a break, 2 pushes up. I'd say this is more likely to come down, so it's another reason not to go long on here. And there's nothing worse when it triggers you and hovers around here for a minute. So I'm just going to sit and watch this for a minute, and then I'm going to get a quick cup of coffee. In fact, I'll leave it. I'll let it surprise you when I get back. Okay, I'll be about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. Let's have a look. Okay, so that trade did what I thought it might do, come down. So if you'd have took that one, let me just get rid of that. So yeah, going long into there is just risky. Would I taken that one short? Quite likely, yeah. 1, 2, 3. It was a failure, trapping some longs there, and it came down for. That's a shame. How far has it come down? Oh, not quite 2 points. If we can get a pullback there, I may have a go at that. So if you'd have took that one tick above there, yeah, you wouldn't have got nothing really. That's a shame, especially seeing this big bearish bar on the NQ. There we go, that one. So that one I would have taken. We've pushed up, we've had a break, made one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher, we made a triple test, triple top there, and that's pulled down bearish. So I'd have jumped all over that for 2 points, which I think you would have probably got there. I'd still expect that to come down low. We're clearly in a range anyway, so I'd at least expect it to come down to here. In fact, I'm just going to toggle off a minute and switch that quickly onto an evaluation.
Order filled.
I'm just going to do this on an evaluation. I don't mind a bigger risk.
Order filled.
Yeah, it's just an evaluation. I should have gotten up here really, but I think there's a good chance we're going to get down to here, so I don't mind taking the risk. Yeah, if you see this, it's only an evaluation. It's not on a. It's not one of my PAs. I like the fact that it's come down, so I think there's a good chance of it getting to these lows after seeing that. So I don't mind the bigger risk. It's a 4.25 point risk to there. It's all right. I'm not bothered about that on an evaluation. I trade a fail second entry long for 2 points. Yeah, I'd have taken that myself for sure. I like that, and the way it's come down, I think there's a good chance it's going to get down to these levels here, which is why I've jumped in. It's a bigger risk, but it's an evaluation. They're like $35 at the moment. It's like £27 UK. You couldn't get 5 pints of beer for that, so I don't mind taking a risk. I'm pretty confident I know where it's going. Having said that, am I missing something larger? Oh, bollocks, don't do that. Am I missing something larger here? I don't think so. It's always possible. It's pretty rangy, I think, so I'm going to treat it as a range. Yeah, it's a shame that I wasn't here there. It's not often I miss stuff on a break. You don't really get trades in a day, to be honest with you. But that one I would have taken, especially. I mean, we've been up here once, twice. Failed breakout there, double top there, and that triple top, trapping some longs. It pushed up and turned straight down. Yeah, I think that's just. I don't tend to pick tops and bottoms much, but I thought that was would have well been worth a trade. Seem to be bouncing off the top of here, whether we're going to push through it or not. We did last time, so there we go. We're through that top a bit there, so there is maybe a double bottom there. Okay. We seem to be struggling to close through there, so I might just get out of this.
Target
Just
filled.
get out of this for a $25 loss. We're bouncing on that NQ. We're bouncing on the top there, so we've had this leg down. We've made 1-2 attempts to go out. I mean, it could come rushing down. It's probably going to, but if I'm not sure, I'm just going to stay out of it. Well, now it's doing it, look. So I was out about down here, so that one would have worked. But that's where I'd have got out, around about here somewhere. Yeah, it's all right. I just I got out for a tick loss. I just well, to be honest with you, it was it's only an evaluation. I'm trading, but what it is I'm noticing it's struggling to get through the top of there, which is, should have trusted it. Yeah, well, to be fair, I was trading it mega aggressively anyway. That would have been the place to trade it, but I didn't. I came in late because I was pretty sure it was going to come down, but it was just struggling. So to get through here, so my theory was, I mean, I trade these aggressively anyway, so I could trade these anytime really. But if I'm not sure, and I think something might turn, I haven't lost. I'm down $25 on it, so it's neither in or there really on an evaluation. I think I had my stop on that line there, which was the open. So I'd expect it to get to there. But Trouble is, I was trading it way too aggressively. When did I got in about down here? I think. So it was a 4.25 point risk anyway. So if it did come up and get me, that had been the place to short it really on an evaluation. In fact, in all fairness, I'm just going to switch Replicanto off. I'm just going to trade this on an evaluation today. It's just slow, choppy. I don't want to do any damage to me PAs. So I'm just going to trade this for 3 contracts just on the valuation today. It's slow and choppy. I don't want to end up damaging me PAs. In all fairness, looking at the 400 tick chart of that NQ, we got quite a nice little trend coming down there, so it does look like we're getting this other leg. But yeah, so that would have clearly worked for me. So yeah, you know, did anyone else take that fail second entry? I thought it was a good trade actually. I mean, how many times has it been up here? 3 times. We managed to break above it there, but it came in really strongly. There we couldn't close above it. So I think after that and another attempt, and that attempt there trapping some longs. I mean, this is a range. You don't really want to go long at the top of a range, because if you do, you're asking to get triggered on the way down, asking to get trapped, and that's what happened. Came down. So if I was here, I'd have taken that short there. I came in late and traded on the valuation, but I jumped in here and I shouldn't have done. I should have waited really, but the bit that was just throwing me was this NQ, the way it was struggling to get through there. You don't know whether it's going to decide to bounce and I'm going to do something else. So I'm just trading this on my 1 evaluation today. My 3 live accounts, I'm leaving those. I don't like what it's doing today. The second entry long signal bar was way off the EMA. Well, that one there. Well, I'd want to get out before those tops. Now, it did go higher, but if you took that a tick above there, you wouldn't even got half up. It would need to tick through. I mean, even if you ended up getting right on the top, you would have had to tick through to get even a point. So for me, that was just a no-brainer. Look at the support along there. There we've struggled. That's the one I mentioned just before I went for a break, which I wouldn't take. Kind of a nice looking entry. In all fairness, for me, I would prefer that bar down here, the bottom of that body. I would prefer sat on here, which then I would have taken it. But I mean, out to here, there was a point which you wouldn't have scalped a point there, even if you'd have got in actually on the bar. 1 tick above, you wouldn't have even got 3/4 of it. That's why I thought it was going to trap that. Yeah. That's why I would have taken that short, because we've been up here 3 times now, and it's always nicer to trap some longs, because you know, as you hit them stops, it just helps you with that momentum. The only reason I got out of that evaluation trade is I saw it holding on, struggling to get through on the what's it, but I traded them aggressively anyway, so I don't expect too much. And I do tend to fanny around with them a little bit. But yeah, I came in way too late anyway. I thought there was a fair chance it was going to get down here. It did anyway, but I got out with it for a $25 loss. So on an evaluation, it's neither in or there really. Yeah, see, whenever you see these like these with this big, strong, bullish bar and it triggers and just comes down really quickly. See, up until recently, well, even now, I tend to not pick tops and bottoms too much because I don't find I've had a lot of success with them. And that's probably because a lot of the times when I'm taking them, it hasn't necessarily trapped a strong bull bar. That had and came down very strongly. I mean, 3 bars, we come down about 6 or 8 points from the top. Yeah. And that one there, Second entry long. There's going to be traders taking that. I mean, and not only that, I did think, am I missing something? Is there a bigger trend, a bigger channel here at the time? Is something going up and I'm missing it and it's going to turn? So sometimes I'll get out of them. But it's not the greatest day to trade today, really, is it? It's a bit choppy. That one, I agree, was an alright trade at the time. We were stuck in this sideways stuff, so you just never quite know what's going to happen with that. So I left that one, but that worked alright. Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry, mate, I didn't read that right. Exponential. I thought you said it was way off from the top. You said it was way off from the EMA. Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, agreed. I prefer that body sat on there. I thought you said it was way off the tops, and I'm thinking, no, there's 3/4 of a point there. Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, I mean, it's much better. The closer that bottom of the bar is to the top of that EMA, the better. You know what I mean? When you get those lovely, beautiful setups that push down here and sit right on top of there, they just do not fail, those things. Yeah, I see what you mean, yeah. Yeah, it's a weak entry, that, isn't it? And that's the third time we've pushed up. It makes sense that's going to come down, doesn't it? So every time we get down to this area on the NQ, we got buyers coming in and pushing it up. Buyers coming in and pushing it up. Trouble is, we're at the top of this channel now. Whether this is anything or not, I don't know. So it's a bit late for me to get in here unless we can get a high-low. There wasn't anything to go along there for me personally. Make sure many channels do not need retests. Yeah, I noticed there. It made an attempt to, but and not only that, I mean, some channels do. I mean, there we came in a channel, we had a break in a new. There, same here, and that one there we had a channel break new low. But whereas with this one, fitted tight to that channel, which is why we're not necessarily, although it did attempt to it. But yeah, sometimes it'll just finish here and just dive straight. See that channel there? We just crossed over, came straight down. But, it's a funny old day today, isn't it? I was hoping we get a bit of a pullback here before we get too high on this.
Order
This is more
filled.
aggressive, but yeah. If you wonder what the hell I'm doing, it's an evaluation, so that's why I'm being more aggressive. Yeah, it's not brilliant, is it? That's why I've decided just to go on to an evaluation. I kind of enjoy trading these. Try a few new things a little bit, but I take way more risk. I mean, it's costing about $27. This you couldn't get. That's the price of 4 pints of beer in the UK. That is, so I don't mind trading these. I've got a pretty good chance it's going to get up to here, but you know, if it doesn't, that's fine. Ooh. So this is that bearish bar at the bottom of a range scenario if it finishes low here. If you're in a buy, it's only on my sim, so don't.
Order
Okay.
filled.
Bearish bar at the bottom of a channel. See if this pushes up now. Hi, how are you, mate? I'm all right. I'm all right. How are you? Don't know if you remember me, but I was at your lives about a year ago. And started trading since. Sharon. Yeah, that does ring a bell. Are you from the UK by any chance? You from the West Midlands? Are you from the West Midlands by any chance in the UK, Sharon? Or not? That doesn't seem like it. No, I'm not. Oh, okay. It's all right. There's been a couple of Sharons I've known. Just wanted to thank you for getting me into this world. I'm a proud, successful trader. Good for you. Remind me where you're from. Good for you. I like to see anyone doing well. Good for you. No, it's okay. There was another. I'm sure there's another Sharon in the UK. Might not have been Sharon. Sharon's quite well. It's sort of maybe in the. It's a sort of 70s, sort of 80s, and sort of popular UK name. I'm going to get stuffed here. Oh, congratulations! Good for you. Good for you. I mean, when it works, it's great. A country will start to pull it. Okay, fair enough. You're from here. Ah, okay. Yes, I do remember you. Okay, there's not many people I've come across from Israel. You and Natan, the guerrilla trader. I got you. Okay, I have a relative who spends a lot of time in Israel, actually. He was in the UK Special Forces in the 70s, then spent a lot of time doing stuff over in Israel and absolutely just fell in love with the place. Visits about 4 or 5 times a year. Oh, good. I'm pleased you're doing well. That's good news. I see what you mean about the debate. I got you. Okay, are we having this second leg up now? So, that was my thing about a leg. Yeah, I was in the battles for about 4.5 months. Oh dear. So, are we going to get that to tough times? Might have some free time now. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, I think trading, it's tough to learn. But I think once you start getting some success, you get such a lot of freedom with trading. I mean, there's very, very few people really that have the options that traders, investors, basically anybody that works from a computer. You've just got so many options. It's not too bad. I don't have a problem with money. I have a problem with keeping it, but I'm still working on it. But I'm quite stubborn, so let's call it a work in process. Yeah, it's a tough business to learn, but traders who I've known, been trading years, say in time it does happen if you stick at it, keep trying to improve. My trading is my strongest point, although you wouldn't think so. With what I'm doing now, this is just an eval. I've decided not to trade my PAs, but yeah, it's my strongest point. But I still get the emotional side, but it's better. So there's nothing worse when it's slow like this, is there? Good for you. Yeah, there's so many free. There's so much free. There is a guy your way who I've chatted to a little bit. Start. Yeah, it does. Yeah, once you get it and switch your mind, yeah, nothing can stop you. Yeah, absolutely. Lots of people have told me I'm not far away. But yeah, there is a guy I've been chatting to occasionally, the guerrilla trader. He's from, I think he's on the outskirts of Tel Aviv, I think. But he was in the, he sort of live streamed and you could sort of watch his trades at the point, but I've heard nothing from him for a while. But yeah, it's a journey, isn't it? Once you start to make that progress and you start to realise, then you've got so many options, haven't you? Really, you've got so many options. Good. I'm pleased for you. I'm pleased for it. It's definitely. Oh, absolutely, yeah. But the thing is, you've got the option to earn a lot of money. Then, you know, if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it and making a fortune. But I love the fact that it's difficult. Oh, absolutely, yeah. I love the fact that it's difficult because when you do earn your right and you earn your way, you fully deserve it. I think it's harder for retail traders such as you and I. You know, if you get taken in, if you get taken into a bank or some kind of an investment bank or something like that, you got all the support, you got, you know, all the experts there, but we got to sort of learn off our own back, and that you know, that doesn't come easy. I didn't expect that, but that's fine. Yeah, it doesn't come easy. You certainly you learn your way. It's hard to know what this market's doing, really. Are we going to have another leg down, or are we making some sort of downward trend, something like that? Who knows? I don't mind trading these things aggressively. Yeah, see, it's weird, isn't it? I got out the last one because I thought it might turn. And someone said, see, you should have trusted your trade. So I decided to trust this one.
Stop,
look
Phil.
what's happened. It just goes to show you, doesn't it? So we didn't get... We seem to be struggling to get higher on here. So we've had, yeah, whether this is just a leg and a leg down, it may be actually. Maybe a leg and a leg. It is frustrating though when it takes you out and then turns. But it didn't bother me. It didn't worry me at all, trading evaluations. It used to scare the hell out of me, but it just doesn't worry me anymore. Well, look at that. Would you take that long? It's very tempting, isn't it? After we've made this new low, we've pushed below there and let's see what happens.
Order submitted.
I like the fact that it's dropped below there. It's sort of... Let's see how this finishes first. Let's get rid of it a minute.
Order cancelled.
I'm not sure what's happening at the moment. Retest the range lows, yeah, it may do. There may be another leg down. I'd like to trap that long there. And then come down again. So we may have a leg and a leg. We'll see. I'd like it to trap that. The top of the bottom, yeah. I'd like to see that bar trap because there's probably, because of that, there's probably going to be some traders going along there. Yeah, who knows? You just don't know. See, after that one, I came out here because it looked a bit iffy on the NQ. And I decided to hold there, thinking we're going to push back up, and then ended up getting stung. But okay, that's interesting. So that's... So, I mean, it could push up. We got that leg up on the NQ. But if that turns, I may jump in short there. I don't mind these there. their evaluations are only cheap enough. So I don't buy them more aggressively. I do pass most of them, and I trade them quite aggressively.
Order filled.
Okay, so I'm going to put mine there. It may go lower, but if it does push down, there's probably going to be some stops there anyway. So,
Order filled.
put that a bit closer. What I don't want is a higher low here. Might get it because of that support. Although this is looking quite bearish at the moment, we'll see. I like the fact that that bar's triggered by 2 ticks and come down. I think that's a good sign, but we may get a higher low off this bottom. But the fact that we've come down and we've had a break tells me it's losing momentum, so I think it's more likely going to come down and test these lows down here. But sometimes it does push you around a little bit, and so I'm going to put it a tick below there, because if it breaks below there, it'll probably push through there anyway, I think. Trouble is, we're getting close to these lows here already. We're still a little ways off here, but hopefully we should get a quick drop in a minute, I think. It's not pushing down as strong as I'd like. It's holding. It's coming down in the NQ, but holding on here. We're at the lows on the NQ there, so hopefully if we get close to this, it might push quickly. We'll see anyway. Once we get below there, there's probably going to be some stops there. Now I doubt very much if there's going to be a long trade, it's going to push all the way down here without pushing through that. But we're right at the bottoms here, see, so that's the issue. What I think I will do is just put me stop there. So trouble is we're at the bottoms now. Now let's leave it where it was. I think if you took that long, you'd be lucky not to get stopped out there. See, leg down, there's another leg down. I'm well within that range anyway. I don't expect it to come down here, just push below. Once it gets below that, there's probably going to be some stops, because they're probably going to be going long off this bit of support here. So when it pushes through there, it'll probably hit some stops. In fact, what I will do is just put it right on it, because sometimes I've noticed it'll drop below it and then spring back up quickly. So if it's going to push through that stop, it's going to take out that trade. But we're already starting to reverse on here, or possibly so. But I'll be surprised if it doesn't take out that stop. add and then don't move that target, please. No, I won't. Trouble is, we're already bouncing. It's struggling to come down, but we're already bouncing off the bottom. So is it going to go up? It's hard to say. I might have to come off here. This seems like it's... If this pushes up now, this will follow it. We'll see. Okay, what I am going to do is put that there, because if it does push up... yeah, this is getting a bit dicey now. Let's just shove that there, just in case it does decide to come back there first. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let's just put that there. We may get a bit of a pullback on this. Let's just get out of it. Let's get out of it. We've already made a new low, haven't we? But there again, there's a bull bar there. That would be a weak position to go long, wouldn't it? So it may come down and stop there. It's just one of those things, isn't it? Let's put that there anyway. There's going to be some longs trapped there. There may be some more longs trapped there. We may get a bit of a pullback and another retest on the NQ. We are making lower highs, so we're struggling to get up. So we may have another go down. It's hard to say at the moment, really, isn't it? But there may be some stops from there, but there's probably going to be some there. Okay, let's just get out, I think. I don't know. That's why I kind of like this, the NQ, because it gives you options. There may be a channel there, see? We've triggered above that. I like the fact that we've triggered above there. I think we're probably going to come down and stop that out. There's also going to be some stops there from longs going long above this, so it's worth a risk. As I say, it's only an evaluation. It may just shoot up quickly, so let's just see. Okay. Let's get out.
Target filled.
It might come down, but it's just not worth it. I got out for $100, I think, there, but it's all right. I don't mind. They don't bother me. This is quite likely going to go up, I think, but, or at least maybe to retest this. That's fine. They don't bother me trading the valuations anymore. I wish trading PAs felt as easy as trading evaluations, I've got to say. This might be a failed breakout of this, so we can get a higher low here. That might be an option to go long. There's a higher low off the bottom. We've already come down here once, so let's see how this one holds. There is technically a failure there.
Order filled.
There's a higher low forming there, hopefully, off the bottom. So this might be a failed breakout of this. Yeah, if you wonder why I'm trading like this, because it's so choppy today, I've just decided to leave. I've just decided to leave my PA accounts today and just trade an evaluation. We've bounced multiple times there and we've got a nice higher low, so I think there's a good chance this is going to push higher. Trouble is we are making lower lows there, so how high it's going to go, I'm not really sure. I'd like it to push to the top, and it may do after this breakout, but I don't know.
Order filled. Put it one tick behind that failure. Trouble is, we had this leg down. We could have a leg down, part the way a leg down with a pull back, and then the rest of the leg down. It could go. It kind of makes sense in a way because we're struggling to we're making lower highs on this, so could go either way really. If we can get above there, I think we'll hit that target then. But you just don't know. It's just struggling to get up. That's starting to move now, so that's a good sign. Push up, come on. Trouble is we're getting to this area now where we may struggle, so okay, that's a good sign. Get above there, come on. NQ's pushing now, so that should push through. Break even just in case.
Target filled.
Yeah, the bit that concerned me is that we've got a leg and a leg. This might be broken down into two, leg and a leg. It might come down here. And on the NQ, if you look at the tops here, they're progressively getting small, and that was my concern. But I think we're okay now. So realistically, I'd say this is more, we're sort of trending in this area now, really, aren't we? And that just looked like a bit of a failed breakout. Well, let's keep on top of that news. Yeah, so if anybody wonders why I'm trading a bit aggressively, I'm just doing an evaluation. I'm just leaving my PAs today. It's not the easiest chart to read today. It's a little bit risky. So I think some days when it's like this, chopping around a bit, it might be an idea just to get a bit of screen time on an evaluation or a sim. Today. Okay, just incidentally, that 80% off and 1 day to pass finishes a week today. Is it 1 day to pass? Yeah. Week today, 27th of March. I'm guessing after that we'll probably go back to the 71%. That's what we came from. Oh no, we came from the 90% off. Before that we had the 71%. 3 days to pass. I'm not so sure why they do that. I don't know why they don't rule them out altogether and just say you pass when you pass. So be interesting to see what I was surprised with the 90% on 1 day. We've never had that before. That was as good as it gets. So I'm glad I got out of that because you don't know whether you're going to get 2 legs down. So we got 1 leg down. You don't know whether it's going to be broken into 2, do you? So I want to say. It kind of looks like it's struggling to get above that, isn't it? So it makes sense. And we're very close. Well, we've been up here before, this level before, and coming down, so it makes sense. We're nearly all the way down there. We still got a bit to go. That was the trouble. When it came down that time there, we were only here quite a ways off the bottoms. Do you not find it odd that a prop firm can run 1 day to pass offers and have a 30% rule in PAs? Yeah, Yeah, I mean, the 30% rule it's one of those things, isn't it? If you get to $2,600 and you have $850 in one day, you can't withdraw at $2,600. I mean, you can do whatever you want. There are no rules whatever on evaluations, but the trouble is, and I'm thinking, when they do these one days, people try and go for home runs and blow more accounts. So it's just Apex's way of making extra money, isn't it? But yeah, I didn't agree with it at the start. This channel, I didn't agree with it. Part of me still doesn't, because it does promote risk taking. Well, some people, you know, I remember when we had some comments and I said, well, the thing is, it does, you know, promote risk taking. And someone said, yeah, but you can pass it in one day. And I'm thinking, you got a $2,600 drawdown, a $2,500 drawdown, and you're going to make $3,000. So you've got to make 120% profit in a day. There's no way you can make 120% profit in a day without taking a big risk. But then you got people like the people who can make money out of PAs, and they may want to add to it, so they may want to trade quick. So it's good. I mean, people like Alpine, who constantly has new PAs all the time. For people like that who can make them, you know, make them work, then it's useful. But for people who are struggling and are still quite new, I think sometimes it does encourage you to take lots of risks, and it's very easy to get into a habit of being a risk taker. So, you know, I'm a bit on the fence about it, really. It's nice to have the option, and don't get me wrong, if I've traded, say, 3 contracts a little bit aggressively and I hit my target in 3 or 4 days, what you've got to do then is, for the next 3 or 4 days, is take 1 micro a day, which is kind of counterproductive, really. You can't lose, really. So, you know, I don't know whether they should maybe abolish it all and just say there's no time limit. That way, people who want to take their time, and people who want to pass it quick can do that. So whether they will sort of abolish any type of time frame for passing evaluations. But yeah, I know what you mean. See, I tend to go for a fixed amount, 2 points, something like that. So I probably don't have large winning days. But I know a lot of you guys might try and buy here and might try and take profits up here. Now, you may lose sort of 60% of your trades, but if you risk 1 and make 3, you're making profits. But obviously, that's where things like the drawdown affects people. And then obviously, you know, like I said, a 30% rule. I mean, if you happen to have a fantastic day and make $1,200, what you don't want to be doing is say, oh, I'm just going to come out at 700, otherwise I won't be able to, you know. As a trader, if the market's absolutely tanking, you want to try and take advantage of that. You want to try and get into a short and try and hold it as long as you can. But if you're concerned that you're going to hit the 30% rule, you might go, oh, I'll just come out for $650 profit. When, you know, any trader in the right mind, one thing I hear from professional traders, you want to get out of your losers as quick as you can and stay with your winners as long as you can. It is a loose definition, I agree, yeah. I think it's probably to weed out people who are just trying to get a bit of a one-hit wonders type thing, because people are going to try, and I know I've done it myself. You are going to take risks and see if you can get lucky. Now, what they probably do is, because I've heard people say, I've made over $1,500 in a day and I've still got paid and I've been above that. So perhaps they just look at the account and go, okay, is the guy legit? You know, you can look at someone's trading and tell if they're legitimate traders or not. And if you are legitimate traders, they're going to copy your trade. So why would you penalise a guy who's a damn good trader and who can get in down here and get out down here and make, you know, 2,000 quid? Well, why wouldn't you do that? Any trader who can get in down here and have a small risk and make a ton of money, as far as I'm concerned, he's got a gift. But yeah, it is a loose definition of the word, isn't it? But what I don't want to do is feel like I've got to get out of a trade for less profit because I'm concerned I won't be able to make a withdrawal. It doesn't affect me because I tend to go for a fixed sort of 2.5 points. So I you know, it doesn't really affect me too much. If I get 2 winning trades in a day, it's $450, $500 maximum. So it's not be an issue for me. But you know, not everyone sort of trades my way. I know lots of people have had issues with things like the drawdown getting taken out in trades, because obviously prices never just go up, they never just go down. You can't expect to get into a trade and it just goes straight up to and take you out. It's going to come back from time to time, and depending on what's happened in the world, you never quite know. It's definitely been one of those days today. It's probably just going to do the same up until the news. So entries that I'd have taken, that one I think actually was an okay trade. At the time we were stuck in this congestion, which is why I didn't take it, but it did what it was supposed to. It's a perfect second entry long, worked nice, it worked up nice. I think sometimes you can tell how good these positions are by how far the next bar comes down. Sometimes when you get these bits of flush down, some of these really strong positions, their stops tend to hold. That one I'd have definitely taken. Not sure about that one. It's too early for a starters. There was something else somebody mentioned. I can't remember what it was now. Was it I can't remember. We were talking about Thomas Wade at the time, and it was a double entry something or other. I can't remember. But that one I'd have definitely taken. But the way I see it is that trades are hard to come by. If you trade Pat style, there's not as many trades as there was 2 years ago. But, with multiple PA accounts, getting one good solid trade a day is enough to make a really good living. So, when I started this, I was taking 8, 10, 12 trades a day, and sooner or after time, you just weed out the crap, don't you? The more you get stuck, the more you get trapped, the more you lose, you learn from it. The best way to learn not to get trapped is to get trapped. And I do notice them a lot more often. It's rare I get trapped now. I did a week and a half ago. I got suckered big star because I messed around with me downtrend. I adjusted it, whereas we'd already had a break in a new low, so we had a lovely lower high, which if you'd have drawn the bigger channel would have worked beautifully, but it triggered me and stopped me out. And then when I put my channel back, it was clear. So how long does it usually take for payment once approved? Okay, so if you're on this time scale now, payment is usually on the last day of the month. Now we got Easter weekend coming up, and it's bank holiday on the Friday the 29th. So I'm guessing you will have it, maybe not in your bank, but certainly in your plain account, or a week tomorrow, which is the 28th. Now, when I've had payments before, it goes into your plain account. You get a nice email from plain, and it's usually then in your designated bank account within 48 hours. So sometimes they pay early. I don't know why, but you just never know. But I would say I'll be surprised if you haven't had a message from plain a week tomorrow. But they are good Apex. I've never had an issue with the payment. They've always... We had that problem once, didn't we, when they first went... Somebody, I don't know what it was, the powers that be changed the rules in the industry, and everyone had to find out a new... I think it was before plain, because we've had a few over the last couple of years. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, you'll get your money as long as you've got a plain account, and you make sure when you go into your plain account you set up your designated bank, and it'll all be sorted for you, mate. You'll get it. They're good Apex. They are good. I've got no qualms with them. The only slight quarrel I've got with Apex, if there's one, is the fact that if something goes wrong with Rhythmic, I think personally they should take responsibility, and they do in most cases. If it's a blanket outage, then they do. But I've heard of it. It happened to a few people in a day, and they've refused to set it. But like I say to you, and I've said this before, if I was you and you trade for a prop firm, download OBS, which is free, and record your trading day. So if something goes wrong, at least you've got some video evidence. One, to look back on yourself and find out exactly what's happened. and two, you've got video evidence to say to Apex, well, look, I recorded it. If you want to see that I did nothing wrong. But as far as I'm concerned, if you sell a package and you have a piece of software that the customer has to use, I think really you should take full responsibility. Full responsibility. Sorry, that's the only slight niggle I've got with Apex. Apart from that, I've got no problems with them. I think they're a good business. Okay, to take my PA again after I got approved. As soon as it says approved, you can't blow your account. Well, if you blow your account, it doesn't matter. I always like to see the money out of my account, off my balance first. But it says multiple times and multiple places as soon as it said approved. So what I would do if I was you is, if you want to trade your account, it hasn't come off your balance yet, is just take a quick screenshot where it says approved, and you've done what you're supposed to. Then you're free to trade it. I tend to, when I've been paid, I tend to wait for it to come out my balance. But I'm just I'm married, so I'm extra paranoid. It's come off your account balance. Oh, there you go. You're good to go then. Carry on. Yeah, if it's come off, it's come off. You're good to go, mate. In fact, you know what? I might knock it on the head now, actually. It's going nowhere, this, isn't it? I'm going to be up a bit, down a bit, up a bit. I might come back later. Anytime, mate, anytime. You know, I get messages, private messages on Messenger from some of you guys all the time, and I'll say to any of you, I'll happily talk shop morning, noon and night. So if you've ever got any messages, or you ever want to chat about something or discuss anything, you can message me anytime. I got no problem with it at all. I quite like chatting, trading. So anytime you want a bit of someone to talk to or whatever, feel free to drop me a message. So it's not ideal to trade PA today, so it is useful to have evaluations or a sim just to get the experience and the screen time. It's always good to keep current. Actually, the more you close that down, the more it actually doesn't look like a bad range day, does it? If you shorted there, shorted there, shorted there, you may be done all right. I may come back later, but just on an evaluation. I'm not trading my PAs today. So John and Dean, I appreciate those comments earlier about that piece of software, Guardian Angel. I'm going to pick that up at the weekend, 100%. So I'm glad you two have had some success with it. It's great for getting you out of a bad habit, and it forces you to walk away. You haven't got a choice. So look, FOMC in a couple hours. Yeah, thanks, John, and thanks again, Dean. That's why it's so nice to mix with other traders, because you learn so much more. So look, FOMC today. I hope you get a decent setup. I hope you get out of this. Failing that, have a good day. Have a great evening. I appreciate all the comments. Stay safe, and we'll chat again tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get out of this sideways stuff, and hopefully have a couple of setups. So that's it for now. So have a great evening, and we'll chat tomorrow. Bye for now.